Hi, it's Kayla, and today I wanted to kind of take a little bit of a different perspective than I usually do on my channel. I am typically a very positive person. I'm very positive about my vision impairment, and I like to showcase that on my channel. But I also want to be authentic, and in order to be authentic, I think it's important to be realistic about the fact that sometimes being legally blind is really hard. Sometimes it sucks, and sometimes it's just really sad. And I just want to clarify that I am genuinely positive about my vision impairment and my situation. I'm not saying that I'm being fake about being positive. That is real. I'm talking in this video about the 5% of the time that I'm not positive or that I am upset about it. And I do think that it's important to be positive and to look on the bright side and not let those negative emotions consume you. I'm just specifically talking about the sometimes that I and other blind people may be sad. And this is something that I don't really talk about on my channel or really in my personal life. But I think that it is important to talk about it, so that's why I wanted to make this video today. I think one reason why I and a lot of other blind people don't talk about the sadness of it and how hard it can be is because we spend so much energy and time and effort trying to convince everyone, society, our family, our friends, that being blind isn't as miserable as they think it is. A lot of people think if all blind people are miserable people and they have miserable lives, and that's just not true. And we spend so much time saying it's not that bad, it's really not the end of the world, which is true, but that doesn't mean that sometimes it isn't sad. But we don't want to tell them that because we don't want them to think that their negative stereotypes and their negative assumptions about us and our lives are true. So then we just keep it to ourselves. And I think another reason why we don't talk about it is that we don't want to make other people sad. So we don't want to talk to our friends or our family or our spouse about us being sad because we know that when people love you, they get sad when you're sad. So I know for me personally, I don't really talk about the hard parts with anyone other than my husband. And even with him, it's rare because I don't want to make him sad. So I keep it to myself, and I know that that's not good because I'm carrying it all around on my shoulders by myself and I'm keeping it bottled up. And that's not healthy. It's good to talk to other people about it, to let it out and kind of be able to vent. And the third reason, I don't know how true this is for everyone else, but I know at least for me, a lot of times I don't want to be sad because, no one wants to be. And so I try and look on the positive side, and because I tell myself there's no point in being sad because I can't change it. My situation just is what it is, so there's no use in being sad, so I might as well just be positive about it. Which works most of the time. It's good to be positive, but sometimes in looking on the bright side, I'm really not talking myself out of being sad. I'm just repressing those feelings, which isn't good. So something that happens to me when I'm repressing these feelings and keeping them all bottled up and trying to be cheerful all the time is that sadness is right underneath the surface, and the smallest thing could set me off and just send those tears spilling over because they're just right there. And sometimes that can be a little embarrassing because it may just be something really small or something like a question that someone asks that may just be a little sensitive to you, and then you just end up crying in public because you've kept that all bottled up and that one thing just tipped the scale. So I wanted to talk about this today and just let it out and be honest, and also to tell all of you other visually impaired people that it's okay to be sad and it's okay to let your feelings out. So I kind of wanted to serve as an example, I guess. So even though I am a generally positive person, I do get sad sometimes. I cry about it sometimes, and that doesn't mean that my life is miserable or that I'm miserable. It just means that I'm human and I have feelings, and it's normal. I mean, sighted people out there who are happy with their lives still get sad about things sometimes, and blind people are no different. I know for me, I've kind of had a particularly hard time because I was born legally blind, so I've never known a world in where I saw 20/20, where I saw clearly. I've never known a world where I didn't have a disability, but I was okay with that. I accepted the vision that I had growing up, and I was told that it was stable, so I was fine with it. But then what happened is I lost vision, and I had to adjust to doing things differently, or maybe not being able to do some things anymore, and I had to accept not being able to see things that I used to be able to see. And then I lost more vision and had to adjust to and accept that new level of blindness. And then I lost more vision and had to adjust to and accept that new level of blindness. And so it's been a continuous adjustment, and I'm constantly not being able to see things that I used to be able to see, even though I never even got to see them clearly in the first place. And then now I'm seeing them less clearly, or maybe just not at all anymore. And that's really hard, and it's really sad, and sometimes it just gets to me when I look at something and I think back and think, I used to be able to see this and now I can't, and sometimes that will just hit me really hard. And sometimes I think it's not fair. It's not fair that I'm blind. It's not fair that I was born legally blind and I was okay with that, but then I had to become more and more and more blind. And I just think that having a progressive eye disease is really hard, because it's hard to accept it when it keeps changing. I'll give an example of a sad story of mine. A couple of years ago, I was in Disney World. Of course, my story involves Disney World, but I was there for Christmas time. I had never been there around Christmas time, and I was so excited because I love Disney. I love Christmas. We were going to Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, which I was so excited about, and I had heard people just raving about the Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas Time parade. And so I was so excited to see the Christmas parade, and the thought never occurred to me that the parade was at nighttime and that I would maybe not be able to see it because it's dark. And so the parade starts, it's dark, I can't see anything, and my husband he is so much better now about describing things for me, but at that time, he wasn't the best at it, so I couldn't see, I wasn't getting any description, and I was so disappointed because I was so excited about it. And I had a meltdown and cried right there in the middle of Magic Kingdom, in the middle of the Christmas party. I was like 24 years old. I felt like a child because I was crying about this. And even though I was very sad and I was crying, it doesn't mean that I was just so upset about my life. You know, I was really happy to be there. We had just gotten engaged the day before. I was really happy with that. But in that moment, I was really disappointed and I was really sad. And I was kind of embarrassed too that I was an adult crying at Disney World. But I really shouldn't be embarrassed because it's so normal to cry over something that to me was a really big deal and was really hard for me to accept, and was sad that I couldn't see something that I was so excited to see. And that's an example of one of those times I was talking about where since I keep things bottled up, it was right at the surface and very easy to spill over. So anyways, I just wanted to tell my fellow blind and visually impaired people that your feelings are valid and that it's okay to be sad. It doesn't mean that you're not a positive person. It doesn't mean that you're weak to be sad sometimes over something that really kind of is a sad thing. And, I'm really involved in the blind community online, and I see online a lot people telling other blind people that they shouldn't be sad, or they just need to suck it up, or they need to accept it and move on. And I don't think it's okay to tell people what they should be feeling. Everyone's feelings are valid. Everyone's experiences are different. And just because someone's having a hard time or a bad day doesn't mean that they haven't accepted it. And something else I see is blind people online saying something like, I never let my blindness get me down. I never get sad about it. I think of it as a blessing. And that's great if that person actually feels that way. I'm not saying that it's impossible. It's possible, but it's also possible that that person may not feel that way 100% of the time, and that's just what they're putting out there on the internet. And what's happening is other blind people are seeing that and they're comparing themselves to them, saying, well, why can't I be that positive? Why can't I be like that? What's wrong with me? And it's not fair for you to compare yourselves with other people because everyone has a different experience and because you don't know exactly what they're feeling behind closed doors. I get comments on my videos of people saying, I wish I was as positive or as confident as you. And I want all of those people to know that number one, I have not always been this confident. A year and a half ago, I was in a completely different place. It takes time to get there. So just because you're not confident or positive right now doesn't mean that you won't be in the future. And obviously, as you can see from this video, I'm not positive 100% of the time. I have bad days. I have moments where I get sad. I'm human just like you, and that is so normal. So I just want everyone to know that your feelings are valid. It's okay to be sad, and it's okay to let it out. So I guess that's about it. I'm sorry if this video was rambly. Sometimes it's hard to have organized thoughts when it's kind of an emotionally charged video. But I hope this was able to help someone or someone was able to relate to me. If you have anything that you want to add or anything you want to share with me, please leave those in the comments below. And I will see you guys next time. On a brighter note, I promise.